Great. All right, let's talk elections for a little bit. Here to talk about the upcoming local elections the San Diegans will be deciding is the president of the Lincoln Club of San Diego County, TJ Zane. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
We could talk state, federal all day long, but
Sure.
we're gonna kind of limit this today and break it down for the folks that are voting in the for county and some of the local races as well. Let's first of all, let's put up the county races. There's a couple of them, and I believe we have some information here, but the main one we want to talk about here has to do not with Greg Cox, but Steve Danon. You're pulling for Steve Danon in District 1. Explain this race a little bit for us.
Sure, absolutely, and I believe Greg Cox won outright in the primary, but Steve Danon and Dave Roberts are the candidates running in Supervisorial District 3. It's an interesting election. Steve Danon's been running for this seat for close to 3 years now. Has lined up an impressive list of endorsements against Dave Roberts, a councilman from the city of Solana Beach.
Right.
I think Danon does have the edge in this race. And it's funny when you talk to folks from surrounding cities of Solana Beach. They love everything about Solana Beach because they push through policies that push small businesses to their surrounding cities. And it's Dave Roberts, who's part of that city council there, running against Steve Danon, who's wants to bring reform to the county of San Diego, streamline regulations, and make it very business friendly.
What's interesting about our county board is right now it's all Republican.
It is.
And if obviously if Steve Danon were elected, it would continue to stay all Republican.
Correct. And then you got in 2 more years, more races or more seats coming up for renewal. So there's always that opportunity. And remember, last election cycle, the labor unions pushed through a term limits initiative for the County Board of Supervisors, so there will be a lot more turnover at the county board than there has been in 20 plus years.
All right, let's get to some of the local races, and I'll let you, we'll put some information up on the board, and I'll let you choose which ones you want to talk about here, but there's quite a bit going on.
There is, and I'll just take folks through clockwise through the county of San Diego. You said we're going to limit ourselves to local races, but the fact of the matter is there's 18 cities in the county of San Diego, so there's a lot to cover in that regard. But we'll start in the North County. It's not quite syncing up with what's on your screen right here, but in North County you have Councilman Jerry Kern, who's running for mayor of Oceanside. You might recall I had said in a previous segment that there was an attempt by labor unions to recall him a couple of years ago. He survived that recall. He's in a race for mayor of Oceanside right now, and an interesting race to watch in Oceanside too is a first-time candidate for elected office. He's a Marine Corps veteran, Chip Dykes. Running for council in Oceanside. We'll cut inland and go over to the city of Escondido. Okay. You have, among a crowded field of candidates, you have an appointed incumbent in Mike Marasco running for an elected term to city council in Escondido. But I think the real attention getter in Escondido are the ballot propositions there. One is for the city to become a charter city, and another has to do with the general plan amendment. If you were to drop down into the East County and go out to El Cajon, you have council members Bill Wells, Tony Ambrose, Bob McClellan, all incumbents running. They run a tight ship out in El Cajon. It is a crowded field. I think all three are looking pretty good for re-election to the city of El Cajon.
So you like to see that, keep it that way in El Cajon?
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay. They just passed a charter city initiative in the June primary. And then you get down to some also interesting races in Chula Vista. Where you have incumbent Councilwoman Pamela Ben-Susan running for re-election for Council Seat 3. And Pamela is an interesting candidate. If you were to visit her website, I think she has the most diverse set of endorsements for council that I've ever seen, from left to right, all the way through to the center. Very broad support for her re-election to City Council down in Chula Vista.
And I always kid you that you're strictly Republican when you make these selections. But she's a Democrat.
She's a Democrat. The Lincoln Club of San Diego County has also endorsed Tony Young to the City of San Diego City Council, as well as an incumbent this last election cycle, or in the June primary, of a candidate down in Chula Vista who unfortunately did not advance to the runoff in November. But we look for candidates that are good for free enterprise principles and are going to be good for the local economy. It's not just Republican or Democrat.
Okay, come back soon and we'll talk state.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, TJ.